All right, so I'm in Dubai right now, but I didn't want the videos to stop. I've been on a rampage recently, so I got a ton of videos that I want to give my opinion on. I've been dropping videos left, right, and center. Loads more content coming, health, fitness, lifestyle. But let's not waste too much time. We're gonna get straight into this, man. And this is a deep video that I found on Instagram. I just thought, man, we need to talk about this. So let's get into it.
My dad pulled me to the side prior to my wedding and had a conversation with, why are you marrying this young lady? Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm asking you, why are you doing it? We had a genuine conversation. I was like, to be honest, there are certain things that hurt me about you not being under the same roof with me while I was growing up. I don't want those feelings or experiences for my children.
Yeah.
It broke my dad down. He was like, I understand what you're saying. That's not the reason to marry this young lady, though. This is my charge from God to have this conversation with you as my son. Though you think you're not making the same mistake I made, you're equally making a mistake.
It's a different color.
It's going to affect your son in a way that you don't even know yet. Looking back from today to then, I absolutely know what he meant. And he was absolutely correct, 1,000%. So
my dad had the same conversation with me, but not from a place of he didn't think I should marry her, but he was trying to make sure that I was certain.
Yes.
Looking back, it appeared that the first pregnancy that was lost put everything in motion. It really didn't. We were down the path and that happened. And he was trying to make sure that, are you just trying to keep your word? Or is this actually what you believe is right for you?
Now this video went viral, and I want to just go back to the caption on the actual video. Too many men get married because it's the right thing to do. And actually, this is an argument I've had with loads of different people, is that sometimes I think that we don't do it because we necessarily want to do it. Like, it's an innate thing for men to want to do. It's because it's a societal thing. And there are some people that do it. Like, for me, and you can read, there's a million books you can read on this. A lot of marriage is not really based on love. Primarily, there are some texts that will show you that it was based on bringing tribes together. So when we was in tribal times, it would bring tribes together. It was a way to expand land. It's mainly always been for financial reasons, though the romanticism of that process and that union is more of a modern day thing where it became about LOVE. So let's actually break down what he says, because if we're listening to what he's saying through the context of because it's the right thing to do, and I'm assuming that these two men are now either divorced or separated, just that's my guess based on the way they're talking about it, because they don't sound like they are, they don't sound like they're still happily married. If they are, I don't think their wives would be happy the way they're talking about it. So let's just break it down just a bit
to the side prior to my wedding and had a conversation with you doing it. We had a genuine conversation.
And sorry, obviously his dad wasn't there in the household. That's a big thing that we need to take away from the first part. And his dad is the one that's pulled him to have this conversation.
Like, to be honest, there are certain things that hurt me about you not being under the same roof with me.
So this is something that I've seen people talk about before, where, I think as men, we always want to do better than our dads, which is a natural thing. You grow up, you want to be better than your dad. So if you had a dad that wasn't around, you want to be better than him. If you had a dad that didn't give you money, you want to be better than him. If you had a dad that treated your mother badly, you want to be better than him. A lot of the things that we do as men are almost in a way like, I'm trying to outdo my dad. I'm trying to prove I'm better than him in some ways, especially if you feel like you didn't have a good relationship with your dad, or, while
I was growing up. I don't want those feelings or experiences for my children.
Yeah.
It broke my dad down. He was like, I understand what you're saying. That's not the reason to marry this young lady.
Now, was his dad right is the question. I don't know, because there wasn't any information on if the guy was divorced or not, but I'm going to assume he is right in the sense that just because you want to do better than me doesn't mean that you should marry this person. And I think that's a fair assessment. That is a fair assessment, actually. It's not even I think. It is a fair assessment. There's no question.
This is my charge from God to have this conversation with you as my son. Though you think you're not making the same mistake I made, you're equally making a mistake.
It's a different color.
It's going to affect your son in a way that you don't even know yet. Looking back from today to then, I absolutely know what he meant.
And let's quickly just assess that charge as well, where he said it's going to affect your son in a totally different way. Or let me break that back.
I don't even know yet. Looking back from today to then, think you're not making the same mistake I made, you're equally making a mistake.
It's a different color.
It's going to affect your son in a way that you don't even know yet. Looking back from today to then,
it's going to affect your son in a way you don't know yet. So even just to assess him saying that, we can think of it in a way of like, he didn't grow up with his dad by the sounds of it, versus or he didn't grow up with his dad in the same household, versus maybe he's probably raised his son, they're together, and then they've had a divorce. Obviously that impact is different, because to be transparent, like I grew up in during a separation. So I was birthed in separation. I was born in separation. So my mum was pregnant with me while going through a divorce with my dad. So I never grew up with my dad in the house. Obviously I saw him every week, we see each other all the time. I spend weekends at his house, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't grow up with him being like an authority figure in my home. And I think that definitely plays a part. Like, he's not an authority figure in my household. That plays a part. It does, whether you like it or not, it does play a part. So, and I do say that the reason I even say that is because in some ways I actually think that was better for me than seeing my mum and dad together and then breaking up. That could be way more impactful and way more devastating for kids. Any of you who've had divorced parents, I'd love to, I don't want to hear I do want to hear your story. So please leave them in the comments. I'd love to know a little bit more about, guess what that's like mentally, because I can't speak to that. And I know people that have been through it and and I know some people have had like really tough times with it. I personally can't speak to it, and I don't know how that dynamic is. How does that feel?
I absolutely know what he meant, and he was absolutely correct, 1000%. So
my dad had the same conversation with me, but not from a place of he didn't think I should marry her, but he was trying to make sure that I was certain.
Yes.
Looking back, it appeared that the first pregnancy that was lost put everything in motion. It really didn't. We were down the path, and that happened. And
I think ultimately, one thing that a lot of guys need to consider is, why are we doing this? And what's the long-term path there? Am I doing it because it's the right thing to do? Am I doing it because society told me to do it? Or am I doing it because I genuinely, deep in my heart, know that this is what I want to do? I think a lot of us, we have to operate, or we tend to operate off of what we think is right and virtuous, and I guess, yeah, we tend to operate in those kind of not extremes, but we want to do what's dignified, but that's not always the right thing. It's more about doing what's right for you. And 9 times out of 10, in some scenarios, we choose not to do that. Anyway, I'll wrap that up here. Just thought that was a very interesting video. I came across it. It's got like 30,000 likes. I was like, yeah, this video is viral. It's worth me talking about. And I think I did find that quite interesting. And especially a lot of the conversations we see around, marriage, that union between man and woman, and what that means and how that affects your life moving forward. I'll be back in the home studio very soon. Obviously, I'm just away in Dubai at the minute. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.